The only way to try and show that this would have been Bronze Age would be the markings or some type of science like carbon-14 or something like that to prove it. However,
that's not the only way.
Okay, I'm sure there's more. I'm just saying, like, there's ways in which we could figure this out. But even then, if we found writing, let's just say, there's so many kind of fake stuff that is out there now that it's like, goodness gracious, we really need to be able to validate that this object itself dates to this period. We need to have really good kind of scientific empirical data knowing this came from that strata without someone saying, hey, I just found this in a pile that was dug in the 80s or 90s and I'm like re-sifting through. It's just kind of odd, in my opinion, how this was discovered. And then we're going to get into the problems, I'm sure, about how it was immediately released and just shouting from the rooftops.
So you are actually touching, I think, on one of the most important things that we need. There are this next generation of archaeologists and historians and early history of historians and scholars of ancient religion in general have to tackle. I mean, the first thing now, and now I'm on this. I'm totally agreeing with Israel Finkelstein, who's one of the great archaeologists in our area, and he talks a lot about the need to be scientific about what we're doing. I've heard it throughout my studies, and I still hear it here and there, that the humanities are not a hard science. It's not an exact science. It's, you can say what you want. This is absolutely not true. It can be, and it should be managed or run as a scientific endeavor. I mean, in the hard sciences, in physics, for example, and my dad is a physicist, so we talk about it all the time. In the hard sciences, you come with hypotheses, and you have to validate them, and you have to validate them based on certain methodologies that people have developed over the years, and formula, etc. We can do exactly the same. There's no reason why we should not approach things scientifically, and we should. And so, for archaeological discoveries, like possible inscriptions and things like that, we should be very, very skeptical always. I mean, if you remember, we had this Darius inscription found at Lachish about 2 months ago.
Yeah.
You remember that someone just
everyone's like, whoa, this is real, man. This is real.
Yeah, exactly. No, this is real. And so the thing is here. One of my friends, the moment it came out, just sent it to me on WhatsApp and said, look at this is amazing. And he knows that I'm working on the Persian, on Persian period. So that for me would have been awesome. I take one look at the picture of it and I say, this is fake. Because I work with exactly that kind of epigraphy of Darius the First. And, this is exactly the material that I work day in and day out with. And at one look, it's like, this is fake. And what I told him, is this looks like what a student would write, who's trying to emulate the Aramaic of that time period. So that it looks exactly like something a student would write. It turns out that a teacher of Aramaic wrote that when she was visiting the site.
Wow.
So that actually fit exactly that kind of profile, though she's not a student, but it is for students, and she did it very quickly just to prove a point. Anyway, so I said, this immediately looks like something that is either fake or, very suspicious. Anyway, but that is not the kind of fake this is not, for example, we have many forgeries. This is not a forgery. Okay, it's fake, but it's not a forgery. So, no one tried to sell anything to anyone. Okay, no one tried to make money off of this or to confuse anyone. This was an honest mistake. Mm-hmm. It should not have happened in the first place. I mean, she should not have tossed it in the area. But the fault here is on the scientific team who tried to decipher it. But actually, there's another really important point. There has been problems also. To use, the need to use archaeology for propaganda. is very strong in some parts. I'm not saying the entire Israeli Antiquities Authority does this, but some people try to use this maybe for, I don't know why. They really pushed the team to decipher this before a certain feast, the Purim, because that's related to the Persian kings. So they wanted to have a good news item just in time for this, and they didn't let them, apparently, from what I understand, they didn't really let them do the full scientific process in order for this to come out for that particular feast. So these things are just not, this is not scientific. You cannot force this. You can't force the scientific team to work faster just because you have an opportunity to push some agenda.